From day one of coming to China, I realized that foreigners are treated in a very special way. But that was back in 2004 when I first came here. After more than 20 years of living in China, I've started to notice that this tendency has shifted quite a lot, though not everywhere and not in every situation. So in this video, I want to talk about why foreigners receive special treatment in China and how this experience has changed over time. Before going any further, I want to be careful with this topic. When we say foreigners, we're actually talking about very different people. From my experience and from what I've observed over the past 20 years, this matters a lot. That's why I don't think that this topic works well if we talk about it in very general terms. So let's break it down point by point. In very simple terms, the bigger and more international the city is, the less special treatment foreigners receive. In cities like Shanghai, Beijing, Guangzhou, or Shenzhen, foreigners are everywhere. Local people see them every day, so they're not something unusual and they're usually treated just like anyone else. But the further away you go from big international cities, especially in smaller cities, less developed areas and non-touristy places, the more noticeable special treatment becomes. Foreigners are still relatively rare there, and because of that, they often receive extra attention, curiosity, and sometimes better treatment. This difference has less to do with attitudes and more to do with how familiar people are with foreigners in everyday life. Beyond geography, there is another point worth mentioning. Again, very carefully. Not all foreigners are treated equally. From my experience and from what I've observed, people with darker skin tones may be treated differently when it comes to getting a job. At the same time, foreigners who look Asian are often not recognized as foreigners at all, especially in the education sector. In many cases, a person with darker skin tones may lose a job opportunity to a person with lighter skin tones, regardless of nationality. I'm not saying this happens everywhere, and I'm not saying all people think the same way. It depends on the city, the school, and the institution. In international schools, this usually matters much less. But in bilingual schools, public schools, kindergartens, and especially training centers, appearance can matter a lot, at least from what I've seen. And again, the further away you go from big cities, the more noticeable this becomes. I'd genuinely be interested to hear your thoughts and experiences on this. And this brings me to the third point. Should foreigners receive special treatment in China at all? And how do I personally feel about that special treatment? Let me give you a very concrete example. In the past, I've had situations where I was standing in line, for example, waiting to enter a restaurant or waiting in line at a hospital. A waiter or staff member would come out, take me out of the line and say something like, "You go first." And I could hear people in the line asking, sometimes with clear dissatisfaction, why we were allowed to go before them. The answer would be very simple: because they're foreigners. In those moments, I always felt that this was wrong. Even though I followed the waiter, I felt uncomfortable afterwards. It wasn't my decision and it wasn't my fault, but it still didn't feel right. Looking back now, I think I probably should have said, "No thank you, I'll wait in the line like anyone else." Over time, I became more aware of situations like this, but to be honest, living in a big city now, I don't really encounter them anymore. In large cities, things like cutting the line because someone is a foreigner almost never happen. So if I had to summarize my feeling, it would be this: special treatment can feel good, and I won't pretend otherwise. Being treated like a VIP for no obvious reason is pleasant, but at the same time, I always have a question in the back of my mind: why do I deserve this? And finally, I want to ask you, should foreigners receive special treatment in China at all? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you found this discussion interesting, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.